On October 26th, Microsoft will release Windows 8, kind of a big day around us. It's reimagining Windows in a lot of different ways. One of the ways is going to be optimized for touch devices, like this tablet that I have. Windows 8 will also have apps that you can get that are free or low cost. A lot of them build from the ground up some of your favorite tools for this touch environment, including an app for OneNote, and that's what we're going to look like. That's what we're going to look at today. Now, just to back up a little bit, Windows 8 will work fine on PCs, desktops, laptops, and all that. In fact, I have it working on a couple machines here at work, and I'm using the Windows Customer Preview at home. So, but I'm going to show you today on touch devices, like this device here. This is a Samsung Series 7 tablet. That is a touch device, and we're going to show you how things are optimized. Now, if you haven't seen Windows 8 before, I'll just do a little quick introduction. This is the start screen. Instead of the start button, it's now a start screen that has tiles that you can change, update, put your favorite things on there. I'm not going to do a lot of scrolling because that's going to cause some problems on the rendering. But then there's navigation. So usually you would do this with your thumb, but I'm kind of presenting this backwards right now. You can kind of flip through and see what you've had open. And then you can flick here to the right and get what's called the charms. And that way you can search any page that you're on at that time, share it, or get back to the start menu, which I'm going to do now. So that's a little just really quick introduction. Now I'm going to try to do everything with touch gesturing today. I'm not going to hold it like this though because I don't want to drop Michael's beautiful machine. So this comes with this Samsung comes with this little cradle so you can get power and stuff like that. So let's open up this OneNote app. So again, OneNote 2013 will come out with Office. This is a new app that if you're running the Windows 8 preview right now, you can download for free, and we'll have a link for that at our webinar. So this kind of looks like OneNote, as you've seen it before, but it's going to be a little different. Those are the differences we're going to show you. Really quick 30-second update about OneNote. It is great. It's your digital notebook, basically. You want to gather your notes. You want to keep them in one place, sync them with all your devices. This will work. I mean, again, you can also intermix school, work, and home and keep everything coordinated in that. Put screenshots, notes, documents, all that stuff in one place. Now, OneNote's kind of everywhere right now. We have different versions of it. So you get the full set on a PC, on a desktop, or your laptop with Office 2010 or Office or the new version of Office. It's in preview right now. You can also get it for iPhones, Windows phones, iPad. Use it in your web browser, which includes Safari for people that want to use it on Mac. And all those are kind of more mobile devices that are a little lighter in tone. So you won't be able to do everything, but you'll be able to do many of the things with it. And of course, they'll be able to sync. That's the important thing. So for slates, this is what the UI is going to look like, and there's some new features that are optimized for touch here on this Windows 8 version of Office. As with OneNote, the far left column, that is notebooks. If you just think of old, I'm going to say old binders, but everyone still uses binders. So these are my binders and these notebooks, and then each of those notebooks has section, and each of those sections have pages. So I'm going to go over to this other notebook here. And some of the commands you would find on Windows comes from swiping. So I'm going to swipe up, and there I get this app bar. But one thing that Windows 8 is doing to reimagine this stuff is making it full screen. So you can really take advantage of the tablet. So there's no ribbon or anything that comes down, and you can quickly view things in a full screen format for reading. So I can see the whole thing here. Now, as I click around here, or as I touch with my finger, look on the right-hand side, you'll see a small circle. And it changes. So here it's got a little picture. Over here in this area, it's got a paragraph mark. And if I touch some text, it turns in an on-screen keyboard comes up, and this little A turns up. These are radial menus, and what happens when you touch these is you get a new type of interface that replaces what you see on the ribbon. So this radial menu is what you would get in a lot of your type area of the ribbon. So you can change font size, copy, color. Let's go ahead and do some of that. So I can just click bold. Now, if the little radial menu, you see the purple arrows, that means there's more options. So if I'm going to swipe the B on my with my finger, I get all the options. So bold, underline, italics, I can do all that. Same with color. I'll swipe through there, and I get a color palette. So let's pick green here. Not only that, I can pick more greens. So here is a color palette that's just all greens. So I can pick my favorite color. Let's go with Sounder Lime Green here. And then you can, so I'm going to go back and hit font size. Swipe through that arrow, and I get this thing that looks like a speedometer. It's pretty cool. So I'm on 17-point font, and I can just swipe my finger along and change this to 34-point font. That's a little big. Let's go back a little bit. Try 26. And you can see it live previews there, so I can see it. I'm going to go over here. These little dots at the bottom of is when you're working with text and you drag your finger along to highlight it. Now, the thing about radial menus is you see that little A has popped up. You can click the radial menu to see your menu, which you'll want to do the first few times. But it's smart enough. In fact, let's look at this. Color is at a 2 o'clock angle. Font size is at 10 o'clock. If you're looking at this like a clock, like a remember clocks that weren't digital. So as you get to know the commands more, you can just swipe things. So if I take the A and I swipe to the 2 o'clock, it knows to change that to the last font color I used, which was that lime green. If I go and do my finger to 10 o'clock, it's going to remember the font size I just changed to before, and it changes that to whatever font size we have. What was that, 28, 26? So it remembers. So there's even shortcuts around those radial menus. Okay, let me disappear this here and go over to another page. So I'm going to swipe this over and look at my other pages. Let's go down to sales here. Again, I can do the same things with font sizes. It remembers the last thing I did, the green in the font size, so I can change that if I needed to. If I click here on this picture, I can move the picture around with the little crosshairs, or there's some other options here. Again, tags, in regular OneNote, there's probably more than a dozen tags. For this MX version, there's probably 3 main ones that you use. Question important, and this is a preview copy. I don't know if that will change for final release. And then typing. Let me go over and show how you would work at typing. So customer research here. So what I do if I want to use typing, let's say I found out this is a wrong percentage, I click on that. Again, that little dot shows me where I am. And I can simply backspace and type in the correct percentage, 20%. So OneNote's been around for a long time. It's been around since 2003. And it was actually built for this first kind of a touch, the old tablet machines, if you ever saw one. They folded up like a laptop, and you could swivel it and use it down and use pen and ink. So pen and ink also works with this version of OneNote. Now, the touchscreen here is much better than those touchscreens from 2003, much more sensitive. In fact, one thing I haven't even shown you is, you can take 2 fingers and pinch to drill in so you can get a nice close-up of things. I'll let that render for a second. Or pinch back out with 2 fingers. I have a listing to the gestures on Windows 8. And again, if you don't have a touch device yet, you probably wouldn't use this app. You could bring it in because, again, you can use Windows 8. But again, this is emphasized for touch devices. So let's do some inserting here. So I'm going to click here. So again, I could type in, but also, in fact, here's a couple different type boards that you find for Windows. Here's one that's a left and right type board, so you can just use your thumbs on each side, kind of a split keyboard. And then again, OneNote is terrific on using a stylus. So let me put my own words in here. And even my chicken scratch, as you can see, as I write, it kind of reads that writing, does a pretty good job with it, and then I click insert, and it inserts the text right there. So I can use stylus if I want to. I can also use a stylus for commenting. So if I was reviewing this, I could say something like, looks good, or looks bad, change it. Stop the presses, I don't like this graph, change it. Okay, that was my exec speak. So again, OneNote, this experience for OneNote for Windows 8 is a lighter version, but still gives you a ton of stuff and is built from the ground up to work on with styluses and touch and swiping and pinching and all those things that you can do with a device. And we'll definitely have trainings for you and other materials to work on that as you learn touch devices with their coming out, including the Microsoft Surface, which will be also released October 26th with when Windows 8 is released. Last thing here, let's see here, how are we doing on time? Okay, let me do one more thing here. I was going to show you how to add a picture, but just to know that you can add a picture to this if you need to. And here, I'll show you at least the menu. If I want to add a picture here, again, this little radial comes up, and I can add a camera there and add a picture. And that renders me, and I've got to turn that off because that's a goofy picture of me. Like there aren't all goofy pictures of me. But let's show one thing again that does really well in OneNote is you can find your notes anywhere. Same thing works with this device. So I'm going to swipe from the right-hand side and get those charms and touch the search charm. And then let me look for the word. So this will scan all of my OneNotes. And you can see it finds the word agent two places. It finds the OneNote that I have in my home folder, which is probably when I rented a car. And then it has this one here in the notebook that I'm currently working on. So I'm going to touch that, and it finds it. Now, not only did it find a word, if you notice, this is a photograph of a business card. OneNote can read text. Now, not all text. I mean, it's not going to read some of these smaller numbers on the card, but we've used it a lot for business cards, that you snap a business card, put it in OneNote, and then, the Mark Steele and the travel agent type stuff should be able to be picked up by search. So searching for stuff is still a snap with this version of OneNote. So OneNote is available on lots of different devices, all of these, and of course the Windows 8 Slate. If you're running the free preview, you could show it now. We'll have a link to this page if you have any of these devices and want to use OneNote. And again, you don't need to own Office to use OneNote. We'd like you to own Office and use OneNote, but you could use the free web apps also. So all the references for this talk, and we'll have the video up later this week, will be at this first address, aka.ms/touch123. And any information about the Office webinar series in general, your comments about what you want to see next, your comments that I should look at the camera correctly, your comments about anything else you can find, also schedule, iCalendar meeting reminder we'll set off every Tuesday. You can find that at aka.ms/offweb. Next week on the Office webinar series, we'll be looking at Visio.